The newest update to Pokemon Go has dropped, and data miners wasted no time digging deep into the code to find a Gimmighoul mystery box, Pokemon contests, new buddy rewards, haptic feedback, and AR hand tracking. All the information in this video is sourced from Pokeminers. They do amazing work data mining every single Pokemon Go update, and this last update had a lot of stuff in it. I'm going to stay focused on some of the bigger things, but I would recommend reading the full blog. These guys do great work, and there's a lot of really interesting detail, especially if you like a behind the scenes kind of look. Just keep in mind, a lot of this stuff has not been officially announced. Things get canceled or scrapped all the time. So with that in mind, let's jump into it. Starting with the Gimmighoul mystery box. So yes, this means the Paldean Pokedex is now officially in the game's code. We've got the Gimmighoul family line in there. And of course, this means that the national Pokedex is over 1,000 Pokemon, and Pokemon Go needs to be able to represent that. So you're going to be seeing an extra digit added to all the Pokedex numbers. As for the mystery box itself, the code seems very similar to the Meltan mystery box, meaning we'll probably have to connect to our Switches and transfer Pokemon in order to unlock some kind of special incense. Pokeminers refers to this as a sparkly incense, but again, we don't know if that's actually what it's going to be called. And we don't know yet if it's going to be spawning Pokemon like it did for Meltan, or if maybe it just summons that Gimmighoul that we saw after Community Day. You know, the one that follows you around and turns Pokestops gold, that drop the gold coins. But the coins are only for evolving Gimmighoul, and you need 1,000 of them to do it. So we still need a way to catch the treasure box form of Gimmighoul. So maybe the incense will just spawn those, or we'll have to trade one from our Switch. The code also mentions a daily share streak, so we might be incentivized to connect to our Switch daily for some reason, maybe for bonus coins. And there's also mention that maybe gifts from friends might also play a part, but we'll just have to wait and see when the feature gets properly announced. All right, this next feature is a big one. Pokemon contests. So if you've played the main series games, you know the Pokemon contests are a thing. And according to the data mine, either Pokestops or gyms are going to be able to spawn Pokemon contests that let you submit a Pokemon to compete and earn rewards based on some kind of challenge. It's very likely that these contests will be based on the aesthetic stats of Pokemon, like the height and weight. You know, suddenly it makes a lot of sense why we just recently got huge and tiny Pokemon. And if we take a look at this section where the Pokeminers speculate how this could actually work in game, the theory is that you would submit a Pokemon to a contest, you know, for something like Heaviest Pikachu, and then other trainers could come along and submit their Pikachus, and then whoever ends up having the heaviest when the timer runs out is the winner, and they claim their reward. And again, we don't know what these rewards would be. This is all just speculation, but in my opinion, I think it would make sense for them to use the current gym system, which already does visually group the Pokemon together. And maybe a contest takes over a gym in the same way that a raid does, you know, with a timer. It opens up 6 slots to submit Pokemon for the contest, and then when the contest ends, the gym reverts back to its normal state. I could see that working that way, or maybe Pokestops just turn into little like mini gyms for this sort of thing. We don't know, but it sounds like kind of a cool system, and if this leads us to getting Pokemon titles and marks in the future, that would be very cool. The code also mentioned that there could be a defined schedule for these, and there might even be like seasonal contests. So I imagine like costume Pokemon and theming might play part in that. And if that ends up being the case, then I'm sure like a shiny costume Pokemon would score very highly. So, you know, congrats to everybody that has those extremely rare Pokemon. But I really like this idea. I hope that it actually survives and makes it into the final game. This next thing is pretty small, but I think it could be a big change for a lot of people, which is buddies now have the ability to access anything from the loot table. Essentially meaning we could get actually usable items from our buddies, not just gifts and souvenirs, which is all they can do right now. And again, there's not much info here to go off of, so it's mostly just speculation, but I like the idea of buddies being a little bit more diverse. You know, maybe you get different items from different Pokemon, but even if this just means that I can occasionally get Stardust or some Pokeballs from my buddy, I mean, I'll take it. So this next one's kind of weird, and I have some theories about it. So they're adding haptic feedback to the game. Right now, this seems to be applied to petting and catching Pokemon. So like maybe your phone is vibrating when you're petting or when you're throwing Pokeballs, which if that's the case, it's sort of a whatever feature. I doubt people are going to use that because everybody's worried about battery life, etc. But I think this is actually just Niantic laying the groundwork for more immersive AR experiences in general, not for your phone, but for AR glasses. And the reason why I think that is very likely to be the case is because of this next feature that was found in the data mine, AR hand tracking. And theoretically, yes, you could AR track your hand with your phone to like pet your Pokemon, but that just seems like such an awkward thing. Like, I doubt they would go through the trouble of developing that if it was just to be used with a phone, because it's just another thing that you would try it once and then forget about it, right? Like a lot of AR features. Which is why I'm convinced things like this and the haptic feedback are definitely for AR headsets. You know, they showed us that HoloLens demo a couple years back, but personally, I have a theory about this year, and I'm willing to bet my next shiny Wurmple on it, that these AR features are going to debut alongside Apple's announcement of their AR headset, which has been in the works for years and is rumored to be revealed this year. So I'm just saying, if Pokemon Go is not in that Apple keynote when they're showing off the features of the headset, if they don't have a little gimmicky demo of petting Pokemon with your AR glasses, then yeah, I'll transfer my next shiny Wurmple, and I expect to get a few during this Hoenn tour. I'm just saying, they did it with the Apple Watch when they did the egg widget, and they'll probably do it here again. But I don't think that means we're getting like a big new version of Pokemon Go that's for AR glasses. I think this will just be limited to, like, in your buddy screen, you can use an AR headset to do something. Like, I think we're still a few years off from having anything close to what they showed in that HoloLens demo. But that is Niantic's goal in the long run. They're trying to create immersive AR games. So expect the amount of this stuff to kind of start increasing. So those were all the big notable headlines in the data mine, but there were some other details that I'll go through. Like, there's hints that we might be able to send friend invites to people in raid lobbies, which would be really convenient. Subscriptions have shown up again. These appeared last year, but then got removed, and now they're back. We don't know what a subscription service would offer in this game, but it might be something we see this year. There's also some new dialogue and conversation settings that suggest we might be seeing the Team Rocket leaders appearing in other places, not just in the battle screens that we see them now. Like Pokeminers thinks maybe they'll be yelling at us as we're appraising our Pokemon. I don't know. There was also mention of a new VPS, or visual positioning system, that's related specifically to the Hoenn tour, something called a photo safari. So I think this is just a way for them to create like unique experiences on a specific event location. So I'm curious to see what this photo safari will actually look like in game for the people at that event. It also seems like Pokemon caught at these special events will now have some kind of special background or location card. I guess Niantic is having a hard time coming up with a name for this, so we'll see if that ends up making it in. And I am skipping past some of the Hoenn Tour specific data mine stuff, but you can go check out the blog if you want to see any of that up close, get some of the nitty gritty details. But yeah, that essentially wraps it up for this update. No sign of routes. I was pretty excited for that feature. There was a lot of code that went into it. And if you don't know about routes, they were discovered a couple years ago in the code. They were working on some kind of quest line system that would let you string together multiple Pokestops and create a user submitted route that other players could start and complete. And there'd be NPCs and rewards kind of associated with routes. It was a whole thing. But yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen any updates to the code for routes, and that's kind of a shame because I hope it's not a canceled feature. But I did notice an interesting connection between routes and the new Pokemon contest system. Because if you look at the code for routes, there's 4 route activities, and one of those activities is comparing Pokemon, which that sure sounds like what we'll be doing for these Pokemon contests. So I don't know if that means routes got repurposed into something else, or if maybe contests are just going to be part of routes in the future. If I hear any updates, I'll let you guys know, especially if you guys do like this style of video and you want to see more. Let me know, because like one of my favorite things about following this game for so long, starting way back in 2016 when it launched, was constantly refreshing the Silph Road subreddit and other websites, just looking for any scrap of hint of new things that were coming to the game. Because yeah, GPS based games are really weird and could change a lot as technology gets better. So I'm always going to be following this space because I think it's so fascinating. It's so new still, even though Pokemon Go is almost 7 years old now. And if you think about it, it's kind of weird that no other copycat or other AR GPS game has come even close to recreating what Pokemon Go has done. So it really might be a once in a lifetime kind of game. But I do keep my eye on other AR games. I've played a lot of Pikmin Bloom. I've made videos about Pikmin Bloom. I plan to be covering other games that Niantic puts out. We're still waiting on Peridot. So if you're into that kind of stuff, or you just want to listen to someone who does spend a lot of time playing these types of games, then you've come to the right place. We also play the main series Pokemon games. I've been streaming a Buglock in Scarlet and Violet. That's been an absolute nightmare, but the archive is on my channel if you want to check that out. I honestly didn't expect to be uploading to YouTube too much, but the support on my last video was amazing. So thank you I definitely have other video ideas kind of in that same vein that I would like to work on if I can justify the time. But to be honest, my upload schedule will probably be pretty sporadic here. But I hope you enjoy the videos as they do come out. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.